how to book more calls on LinkedIn using ChatGPT. So if you're not aware, this is the part number 3 of the 5-day LinkedIn masterclass I'm running this week. So I would love to hear from you in the chat if this is the first, second, or even third session you're attending. That would be great for me to know. And yeah, today is going to be all about outreach, DMing, and if you stick to the end, I'm having a very nice giveaway to share with you specifically on this topic today. So the session will be recorded, but the giveaway is just for the people in the live. All right. Where's my screen? There we go. So what you're going to learn today is first, why you need to do outreach on LinkedIn. Secondly is what kind of messages to send. Third, we're going to talk about when to do outreach. And last but not least, I'm going to go over how to use ChatGPT to advance or move DM conversations forward, because that's like the common thread from this week's session, right? Or from this week program. Like, yes, we focus on LinkedIn, but we always look for ways how to incorporate ChatGPT in everything we do. So that is going to be great. And if you stick to the end, I'm going to give access to our exclusive DM protocol you can use in your business after this call directly to move conversation further. I'm just going to keep an eye on the chat. It's nice to see that people are here for the 3rd time in a row. Amazing. Very cool to see. So yeah, if you're here for the first time, quickly introduce myself. My name is Jesse van Breugel. Bonus points if you're able to pronounce my surname, if you're not from Holland, because it's very Dutch. I'm a top 50 creator in the marketing and sales category on LinkedIn. Favicon named me last year. Top voice in content marketing. In the last few years, we generated over $1.5 million in client revenue just using LinkedIn. So that's pretty awesome. I built a LinkedIn audience of 42,000 people, and till date, I'm trusted by multiple 7- and 8-figure clients for personal brand growth on LinkedIn. But today we're going to talk about DMs or outreach, but I prefer DMs because it's a more sexy thing, and it's very clear for people. Like, okay, this is what we're going to DMs, short for direct messages. So why would you even care or pay attention to what I'm saying? In the last 18 months, I've closed over $180,000 using LinkedIn DMs. So it's the preferred way of doing sales in our business, and it's also something that we teach our clients in the program we run. But just about the power of DMs, it's like figuring out how and that's the topic for today, like figuring out how to learn more about the person you speak with, move the conversation closer, make them an offer, and so forth. So again, this is something very important for us in the business, and that's definitely something that I want to share more with you guys about today. So let's start with, let's say, the fundamental thing. Why does outreach or sending DMs on LinkedIn matter so much? Well, I don't know about you. I don't know how long you've been on LinkedIn. I've been a few years on LinkedIn, so I definitely see waves, like ups and downs. But we've definitely seen a big change in, let's call it, the algorithm. I don't going to go deep into the algorithm because that's not really my way of doing things, but I kind of want to like set the scene here. So the algorithm update in September 2023 definitely impacted the reach and engagement, with some metrics even showing a reduction compared to the previous year. So let's say 2022 was, I would say most people see like the golden year that on LinkedIn, like everything kind of went hard. 2023 early still, but the big change has been seen in September 2023. And this has been the case for 95% of creators. So if you can see in the screenshot, like reach for this specific account went down 85%, even though like likes and comments didn't go that far down. So it's definitely been a reach thing. And this is coming from the LinkedIn Algorithm Insights report. I think I mentioned this report a few days back. So my fellow Dutchman, Richard van der Blom, is great about like unpacking the algorithm and such. So if you're interested in learning more, go to his profile and check out his stuff. So you can either complain about this, or you can take the right action here. And that comes down to outreach. So I just want to change your perspective here in terms of outreach and leads. And let me give me a few moments to explain myself here, because with every piece of content you publish, it gives you an interaction. And every interaction is an opportunity for you to engage a lead. So you want to follow up with people who show interest in your content and do this as soon as possible. And as you can see, it's a flywheel. Content leads to triggers, which I will explain in a moment, which leads to outreach, which leads to conversations. And more conversations lead to better reach of your content, more triggers, outreach. As you can see, a flywheel. And those flywheels are something that we want to understand, because stop doing content and the rest will slow down too. So content is pivotal. That's why yesterday we spoke about how to create content in your tone of voice using ChatGPT. If you missed that session, go to my profile after the session, of course, because now you're live. So go to my profile after the session to watch the recording of the second session where I spoke about content. So this is very important to keep in mind. Then before I go into like what to send and how to send it, I quickly want to introduce like why warm outreach is so important. Well, first of all, if you reach out to people that engage with your content, it's a very proactive way. So instead of you just waiting for people just to come and ask about something you do, you want to take a proactive approach. So you want to directly engage with potential leads, showing initiative and showing interest. I like the second benefit on the screen a lot, because direct messaging, it increases your content visibility. It improves like the likelihood that the recipient that you're sending a DM to will see your post or your next few posts by approximately 70%. And again, this statistic is coming from the algorithm report of Richard van der Blom. So that's very interesting. And as as soon as you see this, you'll start to notice. So let's say you DM someone or someone DMs you. The next time, it's very likely that you see post of this creator on the feed. So the interesting thing here is that you can almost put yourself in the spotlight of the people you want to be affiliated with. And this is almost like, I don't like the word hack, but it is something to be very aware of. So let's say there are people in your audience, in your network, potential clients that you want to be affiliated with. You want to be, okay, I want to be seen by them. DMing is the best way besides commenting, right? Because then you indicate the audience that you're potentially interested in one another. And especially if the other person replies to it. And again, I will show examples of DMs later in the session that makes your reply rate, etc., higher. So stick with me there. But I don't know if you notice it, but I get excited about the fact that you can kind of like hack the algorithm here. So if you want to be visible and exposed to the right people, DMing and direct messaging is by far one of the best things, of course, by content. So that's step number 2, and establish authority. So regular outreach keeps you top of mind among your audience. Why? Because you're just like, we're living in a very busy marketing world, right? So you want to not make noise, but you want to make specific sound, if that makes sense. So you always want to be regular with your outreach. So let me get to more of the practical things with this being out of the way. So when to send messages? This is a question I get a lot. Like, hey, Jesse, I get outreach, DMing, important a lot, but when do I send messages? Okay, so some people think that a lead is someone who books a call. So I would love to hear from you in the chat. What is your definition of a lead in your business? So drop it in the chat, and then we can have a little bit of conversation, and then I will share my perspective on this. But drop it in the chat for a second, then I'll take a sip of water, and then I hear from you guys. All right, I'm seeing a comment from Kim. You keep crashing. Do other people have issues with like the connectivity or the stream as well? Give me a 1 if that's the case. I don't see any issues on my end. Apologies for this, guys. All right, I'm getting some replies in the chat. So anyone who has shown interest or reacted to your content, website, etc. Nice. A person that responds to my message. Anyone who's showing interest in your profile or content. Great. Awesome. Thanks for stopping by in the chat, guys. I assume here that the stream is working fine. I don't get any messages about, okay, there is a lag. You momentarily freeze at moments. Alrighty, let me do 1 sec. Let me know if we're better now. I think I made some adjustments here. So let me know in the chat if we're running better right now, running more smooth. Hopefully it does. Like the internet connection seems to be stable. So let's pray that it stays like that. Apologies for any technical inconveniences. As soon as I am doing a live event somewhere in the world, my LinkedIn audience and you guys will be the first to know. So hopefully that works at some point. So yeah, but let me continue. So in terms of a lead, it is similar to what some of you guys have said in the chat. And the favorite definition that I can find comes from Alex Hormozy. And he mentioned that a lead is a person you have means to contact, which is great, right? So that means that everyone in our LinkedIn audience or everyone in our email list or in our phone can be considered a lead. So when people say like, I want more leads, I don't necessarily think that is true. I think what you want to have is what Alex Hormozy refers here to as engaged leads. This side, actually. This side. It's a person who's shown interest in the stuff you sell. So as Hormozy says it here too, people say they want more leads when they really are engaged leads, because everyone can buy a list of names, but interest you have to earn. And with warm outreach, we're figuring out this process. So we go from, with warm outreach, what we do is we bridge the gap from a lead to an engaged lead. And that's very important to keep in mind here. So that brings me to the following point. So we can distinguish the following types of leads. So a like, a comment, profile views, new followers, connection request, new email opt-in, filled out contact form, inbound DMs, and booked calls. We can argue here that they're all leads because we have the means, as you can see here from the example, we have the means to contact this person because we know who these people are. There's a way for us to contact them. But there is a reason I've made this like a funnel, like a hierarchy, because not all leads can be counted equally. I think there is a very fair point to make that someone who likes your post or books a call, there is a different intent. So on average, you see that the intent is getting higher, is getting more if you go from a like to a booked call. So this is something to keep in mind here. And with warm outreach, we'll only focus on the top of the funnel, because these are people that are leads, but we have to make them engaged leads. Because if you think back of number 6 to 9, so email opt-in, fill out contact form, inbound DMs, engage, or a booked call, those people have shown and taken action, shown interest in what you sell by doing an action and taken action. So if you go back here, they become engaged leads. Whereas the number 1 to 5, they're still in the lead phase. So with warm outreach, you want to make sure that you move these people from being a lead to being an engaged lead. So you want to figure out if they have interest in what you sell or what you have to offer. So very important nuance here. So in order to, I like to refer them as like triggers. So it's a like, a comment, profile view, new followers, connection request. These are key for warm outreach. And if you look at these triggers, my suggestion is to approach them differently. So with a like, I would say the level of intent is the lowest. So it's people like the comment, but they don't necessarily, it's not necessarily they express interest in your offer. What you want to do is you want to engage with those who like your content. Again, I will show examples how to do this specifically in a moment. With people that like your comments, there is a little bit of a higher intent, because a comment is more effort than a like. So people need to have a more interest in what you have to do. So they engage in interest in your content. So you want to follow up with individuals who comment on your post. Pretty straightforward, right? People that visit your profile can be considered as moderate to high intent, because they're curious to know more about your background and your services. Because they have to take an action, which is clicking on your profile after they've seen your content or your face on the feed somewhere. Because let's be honest, how do people reach or end up on your profile? Like there has to be like a trigger before that, right? Which is often content or comment. So people that visit your profile can be seen as moderate to high intent. So you want to reach out to those who have visited your profile. And the good thing with LinkedIn is, of course, it gives very specific insights on profile visitors. Then new followers is higher intent, because people have to go to your profile and they have to press either connect or follow. So you can think that they are actively interested in your profile and content. And again, you want to engage with them to figure out more. Again, I will show those examples in a second. And we can argue that in terms of intent, someone that sends a connection request is the highest intent, because they're actively seeking to connect with you, to be in your network in order to strike a conversation, to be part of what you have to offer and what you do. So engage with those people who send a connection request. But then I would argue that they should fit your ideal client profile, ICP, because you're not adding just people for the sake of adding people, right? Because then you just have an audience with uninterested, unqualified people, which if you're selling a high ticket service is not really a metric that I would think you want to steer on. So with that being tackled, I think this is pretty straightforward, right? The likes, the comments, the profile visitors, but it's how to tackle them. So this is important. But with that being tackled, I assume, and that's based on me speaking to many people or teaching about this kind of topics, is that the big question on your mind now is, what the heck do I even say? So let me go into that. So what type of messages to the people that either like, comment, visit your profile, send a connection request, or follow you? And that comes down to intent. So if you look at a scale of intent, in the previous slides, we distinguished intent. So high intent, moderate intent, low intent. And then we can look at the triggers. So with the high intent, we have connection requests and new followers. Two types of messages that you can send, which I will explain in detail with you in the next few slides. The first one, I like set the scene here. The intent, like the people that visit your profile or comment, you want to send 2 different messages. Again, this is my suggestions, but it makes it very easy for you to know, like, okay, when this happens, I send this message. When this happens, I send this message, right? Makes it very, very easy to do outreach on a daily basis with consistency. Because most people know they should do outreach and they should do DMing, but they often don't know how and to who. And that's what we're tackling here, right? And then last, with the low intent, it's people that like. You want to follow up with them properly because you want to figure out more about the situation. So let me go to the first message you can send. And that's what we call, one of my favorites is it's a 50-50. So this is a great message. Like in the beginning of the session, I spoke about increasing or having a higher response rate, because sure, outreach might be scary because you're like, okay, what if this person does not reply? So what you're doing in this message is, first, you call them by the first name, right? Make sure you do this right, because otherwise you blow your shot of having a conversation. You mentioned the trigger. So in this case, you see that this person stopped on my profile. So I thank her for that. I include something inclusive or a sense of understanding, because I speak to most people in my audience, if not all people that enters my audience or enters my world. I speak with them. So I learn a lot about why they're on my profile or why they come to whatever I'm doing. So this is one, like I acknowledge that I understand this person, or at least I have an understanding of the market. And then the big chunk of the message is here with the 50-50. So I give two options which are very easy to answer, but I also know that both options lead to a solution I can provide. So with the first 50% is like, hey, 50% of the people that come to my profile want to learn about how to build an efficient content system. The other 50% want to have a better way to convert their leads. I can do both. Actually, we do both. Like in our program, we help our clients build a content system that helps them with content, but we also help them with converting their leads. So I know that both problems, both options, I can solve a solution for. And then last but not least, with this message, I offer the lead a way to self-identify their options, and it's a subtle way of qualification. So they pick one. There is not much pressure because it's a very easy to answer question. Like, hey, are you here for this? Or are you here for this? And again, then I get an answer. So I really love this message. So try it out. And the key here is to come up with two options that are similar but different. And you can solve them both. So another example here is that, let's say someone comes to your profile, you can say, hey, are you here for the content, or are you here to learn more about your offer? Or that's something, because when they say about the content, you can, cool, why, like what's the reason that you want to learn more about topic you talk about, which is aligned with your offer, right? So you can always unpeel or peel back the layers of that. So the number one message here is the 50-50 message. The second message is a quick check-in. So this one is a little bit more direct, so it's shorter, of course. So you can see again, hey, first name, I mentioned the trigger, so it's a personal acknowledgement. Saw you stop by my profile, appreciate that. And then I give an open-ended question with a specific outcome. And an open-ended question, compared to, let's say, a closed-ended question, is of course harder to answer, because people now have to think, how are you currently using LinkedIn to acquire high-ticket clients for your business? I could also have chosen to say, are you currently using LinkedIn to acquire high-ticket clients, which makes it closed-ended with like yes or no. But then people get a yes, or they answer yes or no, and I have to fire up the conversation again. So now with asking about how they're doing certain things, in this is an important thing, in relation to the problem I'm solving. So we're solving, of course, client acquisition through LinkedIn, high ticket client acquisition. So I'm asking how they're using LinkedIn in that specific realm. I'm not asking, hey, how are you currently using LinkedIn to get a new job? Because that's not what we solve with our business. So I'll ask an open-ended question with a specific outcome, and then I get the response from the lead. We're trying to have a conversation. We're having a conversation based on what he's telling me. So again, this is a little bit more of a direct or sales approach, but for the right people to come to your profile or have some of these triggers, a very good way to initiate a conversation. And then number three, I like this one a lot, and this is also one that you can use in cold outreach. I'm not going to go over cold outreach, but this is a good one. So it's the value share, and what we're doing here is we have a clear value proposition and specific benefit. So as you can see here in the screen, hopefully it's readable for you guys. I'm having an introduction about what we do in our business. So we specialize in building personal brands for founders and business owners. So this was when we were running our ghostwriting agency, and they can stop relying on word of mouth or referrals and paid ads. So I'm mentioning things that we solve, the problems we solve for our potential clients, which I know with the right people, they're interested in hearing more of. Then I have a call to action with a free resource. So I don't know if you're in your business, you have, let's say, a lead magnet or a guide or a resource or a PDF or a training that's valuable for a lead. Use that because it's a conversation starter. And then last but not least, here you have a soft pitch for future engagement. So let's say you have a done for you offer where you do the setup or the work for your clients. What you can do in this scenario, you can give them a resource or a training on how what you do works. And then the call to action could be like, hey, do you want me or my team set this up for you, or any questions about getting this result? Just let me know. So you open up the door in a way that this lead is like, okay, I understand what this person does. I understand how they can help me, and if they if they need you, they reach out. And as you can see here in the example, this guy came back, we booked in a call, and we made him a proposal based on this conversation. So that's message number 3. I saw a message that the stream was cutting out for a moment, so hopefully we're back online. Apologies again, guys, for the technical difficulties here. So hopefully you're still with me. So those are the three messages. So we have the 50-50 where you kind of give your audience 2 options that they can both answer, and both options lead to the same solution. So that's one you can send. This is one you can send a quick check-in. Again, a little bit more direct approach, but definitely worth trying. Or the value share. So for this one, you of course need a resource to send, but extremely valuable in opening up a conversation and just like moving the conversation forward. So that's about outreach. Now what I want to do is I want to give you an introduction on booking calls via DM. And that comes down to our 7-step framework. Like, it's impossible for me to give you a step-by-step, 100% bulletproof DM script because, of course, every human is different. All conversations go different. So I can't say like, say this, say this, say this, say this, say this, because then what happens, you end up being robotic, and the other person, we as humans, you have a very good bullshit factor. So we really know when something is scripted or not. So don't do that. So what I'm sharing you here is the fundamentals. So, or like the technicals, whatever you want to call it. So you can structure a successful DM chat in this specific way. So what is their current situation? So that's step number 1, of course. You always want to figure out, okay, where is this lead currently at? Where in their life, where in their business, what are the problems they're having? Then step number 2 is what does their ideal situation look like? So where do they want to end up? So if you remember of like the basics of content, is often like problem focused or dream outcome focused, and that's what we're doing in this first and second step. So I want to figure out where people are now and where they want to end up. Step number 3, what you want to figure out in a DM conversation is like, what they have tried to go from pain to pleasure? And the step number 3 often leads to figuring out, okay, their frustrations, their pains, their obstacles, their objections. And if you think back of some of my other content, I speak a lot about the FODOs. I'm not going to go into detail here, but FODOs is an acronym for fears, objections, desires, obstacles, and frustrations. So that's very important to keep in mind, because the more you speak with your leads, the better you get an understanding and you can use it in your content. If you think back of the flywheel to start, where I spoke about content leads to triggers, leads to conversations, etc., etc. Step number 4, what do they dislike? So you often get the dislikes from step number 3. Step number 5, in a DM conversation, you want to figure out if you're able to help them go from A to B. So are they in a position that do they have a problem you can solve? And do they want to end up to a situation that you can help with? So let's say the example here is with our business. People are in a situation that they are looking to get more clients out of LinkedIn. That's the current state. So they have inconsistent lead flow and a conversion problem. They want to end up to a situation that they consistently book 2 to 3 clients every 2 months. Then in terms of like step 5, like if I'm able to help them, sure, with that problem, yes. But then also I have to look, okay, do they have the financial assets? Do they have the brand assets? Do they have the mental assets? Because in order for you to help someone, they have to be mentally able or mentally capable to work with you, because it's a difference between like a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. So especially if you're a coach or consultant, there is a certain like mental element that you need, that the other person needs to have, in terms of, okay, are they willing to do the work, or are they willing to listen to me? Are they coachable, right? So in step number 5, you want to figure out that part. Step number 6, you want to define a mutual win, present the plan, and then step number 7, you want to invite them to offer doc or a call. Sound perhaps a little bit abstract, but bear with me here, because I'm going to show you how this process works with ChatGPT. And if you stick to the end, like I said in the beginning, I will share our exclusive DM protocol, which is based on this step process after the video. So let me get up my different screen, and that will help you hopefully with understanding how this process works using ChatGPT. So let me go here. And here's exactly how we advance DM conversations on LinkedIn. And here's exactly how we advance DM conversations on LinkedIn using ChatGPT. So if you give me the next 4 or 5 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how this works. So what we want to do is we're going to go to our DM GPT. It's a uniquely trained GPT to advance leads from first contact to either a call booked or closed. So let's get started. So that's step number 1. Then the GPT is thinking about the next step. What I'm going to do is I have a lead conversation on the other side of my screen. I'm just going to drop it in here so you can see this is a conversation we have with the lead. Of course, privacy wise, the names are out of there. As you can see here, this is my stuff. This is the lead's information. And then what the GPT does, it understands where in the DM process this lead is, and based on this step, where the next step going to be. So like I said, based on this, the current step of the DM process is understanding their current situation. Here are 5 variations of unique and specific messages to advance the lead to the next step. What it always does, like the messages you're getting, like these replies, the tonality and the tone of voice is aligned or is somewhat similar to the lead's tone of voice and messaging, but there is a core foundation of our tone of voice. So we're not going to like copy and paste tone of voice extremely off the lead, but there is some overlap there. And as you can see, we got 5 variations of messages we can send to advance this lead from step 1 to step 2 in the DM process. Very good. These messages aim to understand the lead's current situation and trends. Perfect. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to start a new chat, and I'm going to give you a second example. So let me copy this, run the GPT again. So again, it goes through the start. Hey, please begin the simulation. Copy or paste the conversation below, which I'm doing as we speak. Again, this is a conversation with a different lead. So hey, this is an inbound lead. Hey lead, so here he gets his name. I'm interested to learn more about how to get leads using ChatGPT, because that's exactly what we do with our program, and the DM GPT is part of that. You see here my reaction, and here this lead gives some more context about his specific situation. And instead of me going through this response and figuring out what I have to say, I used the DM GPT to give me 5 variations. And again, we never just copy and paste this into the LinkedIn inbox, but we always use it as a starting point, because the GPT knows exactly, okay, we're at step 3, so we want to go to step 4. And here are 5 variations to advance the lead to the next step. I see lead to what kind of approaches have you been used? Have there any worked? Great to hear about your goals. So it just expands on everything that he said here, knowing the context and like the framework. So again, very good starting point to advance this specific DM conversation to the next step. And last but not least, I'm going to give you another example. So we're going to let this run on that end, and then I'm going to copy this, put it in here, conversation. So as you can see, this is a little bit of a more like a longer conversation with this lead. Appreciate the follow, thanks for connecting. So he's giving some more context. Was hoping I post quite a bit on LinkedIn. What are the things you tried so far? I'm not in charge of marketing, but I got a role in building. Would be great to find out how you could help. As you can see here, The GPT understands that this lead is in step 5, assess fit and capabilities. Here are 5 variations of messages to move the lead to the next step. So as you can see here, what specific results are they looking for? Can you share a bit more? Amazing. So it goes deeper into, okay, is this lead a good fit and can we help this person? So those are 3 examples of how we use DM GPT. It's very important to understand that this GPT is configured in our tone of voice and our brand guidelines. So it speaks like us, it speaks like me, and we're using that. All right, we're back. Hopefully that was helpful for y'all to see how easy it is once configured to use ChatGPT for DM. Like again, if you remember what I said, I think yesterday or the day before, we never use copy and paste AI comments. But with the example I showed you on the screen, it's not even like fully like it's not a generic AI message, right? Because it's done in our tone of voice. Let me get a question on the screen because I think it's relevant for this topic. Did you create or configure a new GPT for DM? Correct. It is what we call the DM GPT. So I don't know if you heard it, but in the video I'm saying like, okay, in our program, we help our clients to build this DM GPT in their business. So they just have a DM GPT in their GPT account after they configured, and they can just use it at their disposal to help them with like moving conversations like down the line. If you think back of the 7-step framework, it is I love making this analogy, but it's like having an intern that is extremely capable that just can help you do DMs. Sure, you have to do some manual tasks here and there. People always ask me like, hey, can we automate everything? Sure, at some point you can, but I definitely think there is still a way of like you want to have like human supervision. So again, co-create and not just rely on ChatGPT for now. Perhaps if I do a masterclass like this in 12 months from now, I'm saying something different, but that's the current reality. So yes, we did create a configure a new GPT, Felicia. How we do that? Then we need some more time in the session. But as I said in the video, in the program we run, Authority Figures program, it's literally step by step broken down. So our clients go through that, and they built this GPT in their business based on the instructions and the support and the guidance we give in the program. All right. By the way, if you're interested in hearing more about the program, I mentioned this a few times before, DM me the word program on LinkedIn and we send you more details. Happy to have a chat one-on-one on that. So let me get back to what I was saying in the presentation. So as promised, with our for the guys that stuck around and I would say managed to get through the technical difficulties, again, appreciate that. We're giving away our private DM protocol, so it gives you insights on what to send, what messages to send to move leads from step 1 to step 2, step 3, etc., etc. So you can book more calls and close more deals potentially. If that's something that you want to have access to, comment the word protocol on this post or on this live stream, and after the session, we will share this resource with you. So again, comment protocol on this live stream, and we'll send this resource with you after the call. Awesome. I see some comments coming in. Great. Like I said, after the session, we'll reach out to you. So somewhere in the next few hours, you get a DM from myself giving you access to this. So stay tuned to keep an eye on your inbox. So that being said, amazing. Let me head back to this. So last thing I want to share with you guys here, from my end at least, is that I mentioned this yesterday too. Like in our Authority Figures program, we help you fill your queue with clients within the next 90 days For the right people, we guarantee results. So if that's interesting, we're offering a 30% discount for the next few people who joined. We have got a few spots are taken already. So if you're interested in hearing more about the program to help you build a content GPT, a DM GPT, carousel GPT, like 10 plus, 10 plus GPTs to help you fill your queue with clients on LinkedIn using ChatGPT, DM me your program and we send you more details.